We're completely surrounded by a sandstorm. We can't endure anymore. Everyone's getting weaker. Sam has died, and the rest of us are going blind because of the sand." These heart-wrenching words were written in the final pages of a journal by Lieutenant Robert Toner, a soldier who, along with his 8 crew members, got stranded deep in the Sahara Desert. But how did these 9 men end up there in the first place? Did any of them survive? And what did Robert write in his journal that shocked the entire world? To know the full story, stay with me till the end of this video. At the Salak airfield near Benghazi, Libya, a B-24D bomber aircraft named Lady Be Good was preparing for takeoff. Shockingly, this was to be her very first mission, and also her last. A crew of 9 brave airmen boarded the aircraft. Their mission was to bomb enemy targets in Naples, Italy, and return. Such missions were far from easy. Multiple bombers would usually fly together, attack in waves, and inflict maximum damage. As the operation began, plane after plane took off. But Lady Be Good was the last to take off due to some delay. This meant she had to fly alone, without the protection of the formation. After pushing through the difficult sandstorm, the crew managed to reach their target, but visibility was nearly zero. The sandstorm had covered everything. Reluctantly, they aborted the mission and turned back. Some other bombers dropped their bombs into the Mediterranean and returned to base. But Lady Be Good, flying solo and delayed, was still far behind. Around midnight, the pilot decided to return to base. But then, their automatic direction finder malfunctioned. They couldn't locate their airfield. Desperate, the pilot radioed for help, but received no response. It's still unknown whether the radio failed or their call for help was ignored. Flying blindly, Lady Be Good passed their base and continued south, deeper into the Sahara. Around 2 a.m., their fuel ran out. The crew decided to parachute down into the desert. Back at base, no one had any idea where the plane had gone. They assumed it crashed into the sea, and a search was launched, but no trace was found. Eventually, the mission was abandoned and Lady Be Good became one of thousands of missing aircraft from the war. 15 years later, November 1958, a British geologist working for an oil company spotted the wreckage of a plane while flying over the Libyan desert. He marked the location and informed the U.S. Air Force. At first, they ignored the report. There were no records of any crash in that area. Later, the oil company revisited the site, confirmed the wreckage, and in March 1959, an investigation team was dispatched. The plane was largely intact, even after so many years. The machine guns, radios, and supplies, food and water, were still usable. Even thermos bottles had drinkable tea inside. But one haunting mystery remained. Where were the bodies? A thorough search of the crash site revealed no bodies and no parachutes. Eventually, a logbook was found. It simply stated that the crew was returning from Naples. Nothing else. But the real breakthrough came from the personal diary of Lieutenant Robert Toner, who documented everything after they parachuted into the desert. Their plane had run out of fuel. They bailed out at 2 a.m. and landed in the desert. One crew member, John, had vanished, and they had only half a bottle of water and very few rations. They rested under the blazing sun till 11:30 a.m., then resumed walking. No planes were in sight. Same situation. Extreme fatigue and sleeplessness due to heat. Still no help. Completely surrounded by a sandstorm. Sam died, and others were going blind from the sand. Shelley, one of the crew members, broke off from the group to find help. The rest couldn't move anymore. It was freezing at night. That was Robert's final journal entry. The U.S. Army launched a formal search. 5 bodies were recovered. They determined that the remaining crew members had likely been buried under the sand. Later, 2 more bodies were found, 38 kilometers northwest of the crash site, including Shelley's. The final report concluded that 9 crew members had bailed out. 1 died during the jump, likely due to parachute failure. The others landed safely and tried to walk north, believing they were near the Mediterranean, when in reality, they were deep in the Sahara. Despite surviving the crash and even having supplies left in the plane, they died from heat, thirst, and exhaustion. They simply had no idea they were heading in the wrong direction.